What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. Crumbling keeps marching order. So the first thing you're going to have to do is get everything out of the box. And you're going to notice that there are two books. There's the Rogue's Handbook and the Delver's Guide. The Delver's Guide you're going to put aside for right now. That's where the missions are, the quests are. And you're not going to bother looking at that until you're ready and have everything set up. So there's also going to be a threefold page. That is the loot charts. And there's going to be a deck of cards consisting mostly of monsters, a lot of heroes, and a piss on your grave double-sided card. What the game box does not have that you should have available yourself on the side are several six-sided dice, pencil, and paper. Maybe index cards. They would work fine. And with all of that gathered, then you're ready to go on this quest. This game uses 4 heroes, which it calls rogues at any one time, regardless of the player count, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And the idea is to go in, kill the monsters, grab what you can, finish the quest, and then get back to town, carouse, gamble, and have a little fun. And it's all done sort of like a choose-your-own-adventure game. Why don't we go right into the setup?
Sorry to disappoint you. Huh? You triggered my trap card!
Separate out the monster cards, leave them off to the side. You won't need them now until you start playing the game. Now, the hero cards, likewise, you can take and put off to the side because you're not going to use the cards in order to pick who your rogues are. For that, you're going to be going to the book, page 58. Specifically, page 58 through 70 covers all of the available rogues from Alchemist to Wizard. Now, the way you're going to choose or buy, actually, you'll notice that they each have a price listed with them. You're going to buy them, and that is dependent on the number of players in the game. A one-player game, that one player will have 500 coin in order to use to buy the effects of 4 rogues to act as his or her mercenaries. In a 2-player game, each of the players gets 250 coin to spend on 2 rogues each. A 3-player game is 150 coins to be spent on 1 rogue each. Now put a little asterisk there and hold on a moment. A 4-player game is also 150 coin to be spent on 1 rogue each. Now the difference between the 4-player and the 3-player game is a little character called the Construct. And the Construct's entire job is to be a 4th player during a 3-player game, a 3rd wheel, so to speak. I guess he'd be the 4th wheel. And he runs on a bit of an AI system. So let's take a look at this solo, and let's say that you are running this game and in control of all 4 of the rogues. So you're going to be receiving 500 coins that you can spend on them. Now, before you go jumping into that, I just want to say up front that you should also be thinking about spending money on gear. So you might not, in fact, I'll tell you up front, it's not wise or advisable at all to literally spend every single piece of coin you have on rogues, at least not the first time out. You're going to want to make sure you have some set aside. Now, looking through the multiple rogues that you have to choose from, I'm going to spend the money here on the Sellsword, which is 100. The Doctor also costs 100. The Torchbearer is free. Well, at least the first time. The first Torchbearer is free. And then 100 for the Archer. So out of 500 coin, I have spent 300, leaving a whopping 200 left for gear. Now you have the option. There are PDFs available by Crumbling Keep that you can download character sheets and write them out. Or maybe you're just going to go old school with your own piece of paper or index card. And with this, the first thing you should do before you get to the gear is write everything out about the character. Put that on your piece of paper or index card, or however you're keeping track of that. Put down the information for the sellsword, for the doctor, the torchbearer, the archer, or whoever else it is that you picked. You'll notice that the write-ups in the book have at the top left corner, underneath price, it has all their ability scores, so to speak. Their physical, their defense, their health, their magic, their tinker, their aware, their escape, their luck, and their resolve. And you're going to write these down. These are hard, in stone, set kind of things, at least for the start of the game. After you make a track of all of that, then you're going to take a look to the right of that column, and you're going to see the actions. Now, the very first one listed is always their basic action, and each version of that character always starts and has that for free. Now, under that, there's usually 3 other abilities that are available to be purchased. For character creation at the beginning of the game, you are going to get a chance to pick any one of those other abilities besides the basic that you want to start with your character with. You'll notice that they all have a listing called cooldown. And just like in a video game, when you're using an ability and you have to wait for it to recycle through and be all aglow again before you hit that button, that icon, same concept here. You have a certain amount of rounds before it is ready and charged to go again. You will get a chance during downtime in between the adventures to improve your character and spend some coin on training in order to learn the other abilities. You're going to be making 2 rolls on the 6-sided dice, one at a time, and they're both independent of each other. The first roll is for your qualities. This is going to be a random ability that is going to come up from time to time if the roll comes up in the future. We'll get to that during the combat sequence. Now, besides the quality, there's also a chart underneath that for flaws. And likewise, you're going to roll a 6-sided die here as well, just like you did for qualities, and you're going to record what the result is on the character sheet. Now, a lot of times the flaws are going to have conditions attached to them. The conditions are in bold print, and there's a bracket and there is a parenthesis usually attached to them. The bracket tells you what the effect is on your character. It's usually a negative score. Sometimes it can be a positive. While the parentheses let you know how many turns it's going to last for. Now that you have the qualities and flaws, and you have your basic attack and your starting action recorded on your character card or character sheet, along with the attributes, the abilities, then you're ready to move on and do the same to the next character. You're going to do this for all 4 characters to get them ready for the delve. Now, let's get back to all that coin that's burning a hole in your money sack. So on page 26 of the Rogue's Handbook is where the Rot Bottom General Store is. And this has a listing of several items on 2 pages, and a listed cost, the C in the number next to it, such as Alchemist Fire, is 25C. 1SL means it'll cost you 25 coins, and it takes up 1 slot in your equipment. Now you can go through this, and the money that you have saved after buying your mercenaries, then you're going to use to go through these 2 pages and figure out exactly how you want to equip them. Now, the rulebook and even the box itself is very adamant about reminding you to bring torches, and also some anti-venom is always good. Now, I'm going to jump ahead with this because it's very quick, but the reason you need torches is because if there's any part of the dungeon where that part of the delve tells you that you need to tick off one of your 4 torch boxes for each torch, the light that it's able to use, once that's all out and you need to tick another one off, if you don't have another torch, everything goes dark. And all of the rogues are going to take 2d6 damage. That's the 6-sided die rolled twice and added together. That's how much damage everyone's going to have while running out of the dungeon, banging into walls, tripping over each other, and generally having pot-shot attacks by the monsters who can see in the dark, hitting you while you're escaping for your lives. So I wanted to bring up the torch thing because that is really important. So now at this point, you have gathered together your mercenaries, your rogues, you've hired them out, you've recorded their abilities, and made some rolls for their qualities and flaws, and even geared them up. So now all you have to do is just pick a delve and set up the lineup. And that's really important, how you want things lined up, because the lineup is going to change during the course of the game. In fact, usually during the course of any particular one fight or battle, you can expect that it is going to change up. So look at the characters, look at their basic attacks and their abilities. Some of them are going to be better at striking adjacent to them, such as right in front of them or right behind them for some reason, while others are going to be better attacking it 2 to 3 spaces ahead of themselves. Or the archer, I believe the arrow is 5 or 6 spaces ahead. Now when you set up the lineup, all the way to the left, you start with the heroes, and that is the back of the hero line. And then you're going to put to the right of whatever rogue you put all the way far left, the next rogue is going to be placed in front of or to the right of that rogue. So it's going to be furthest to the left is the back of your rogue party, and all the way up to the right is the front of your rogue party. And that is mirrored for the monsters. They are going to be in front of your line, and the monster all the way to the right is the end, the back of that monster line. While the monster all the way to the left, right in front of your party of rogues, that's the front of the monster line. So now you got that all set up, you got to delve, and let's learn how to play this game. Now, the encounters, while the game is being played, is all run sort of like a choose-your-own-adventure game meets an RPG. So there's going to be a letter. The letter is depicting what the encounter is right there on that page that goes with the illustration of the room that you're going to be seeing. Mark off one of the boxes on your torches. Now, you got to do whatever is listed there if it says to do so. Normally, if you're in the dark, that is going to involve marking off some sort of torch use. As I mentioned earlier in the setup for the gear, I hope you bought some torches because things are going to get horrible for you if you don't have them. Next, you're going to see a listing for the monsters that are in the room, and that's going to be followed by ETN. That is the escape target number, which is going to be used during the fight. And if there's anything to investigate or look at in the room, that will be done after the battle is done, and then you'll be able to go ahead and read any of the rest of the text that is associated with that. When you're ready to leave that particular room, there will be a letter associated with exiting this area to read what is coming next. Now, handling combat, along with other instances in this game, is going to involve a target number, such as the before mentioned escape target number. So this is the number that has to be, you have to meet this number or beat this number. So if it has a target number of 3, that means you need a 3 or higher. Now, generally, a roll involves 1 6-sided die, 1d6, or just d6. However, in some instances, it may tell you to roll more dice, which would then be abbreviated with a 2 in front of the D, or die, 6 number of sides on it. So a 2d6 would mean rolling a 6-sided or standard regular die 2 times, or 2 of the dice as long as you add the results together. There are also times in combat and other encounters where you may be asked to take half. It may tell you, let's say that you get to make a healing roll of a d6 or 2d6, and then take half of that number. Whenever you're instructed to take half, that means half rounded up. So if it's an odd number, like a 7, that wouldn't be a 3.5, and you wouldn't round down to 3, you would have the option, you get to round that up. That 7 would then, half of it would be a 4. So always round up when you have to half. All right, so why don't we just jump right into how combat works here. So I already mentioned at the end of the setup about the line, the party line, and how it's running from left to right, back to front. And the monsters right in front of them is the exact opposite. That's running from right to left is back to front. So that's how they're all meeting in the middle right there. So when combat is called for, unless something says otherwise, the first thing you're going to have to do is check for initiative. And that means a rolling of a d6, one 6-sided die for the rogues against a 6-sided result for the creatures, your enemies. And the highest roll gets to go first. If it's a tie, you get to re-roll. There has to be one clear winner for the initiative. Now that initiative has been figured out, let's say the rogues won initiative. And the first one in the party line is the Sellsword. So, taking a look at this, it says that his hack and slash, his basic attack ability, can hit a creature up to 2 spaces away. So that means he can attack the creature right in front of him, or the second creature, the one behind that first creature. And he can make an attack. And as it says, that is a physical attack, so it will be a physical roll versus the defense of the creature that you are attacking. So you're going to roll the 6-sided die, and in the case of the Sellsword, he has a physical of +1, so you're going to modify that 6-sided die by that bonus of +1. Now you're going to take a look at the monster. Let's say it's a giant rat, which has a defense of 1. So no matter what you roll, it's going to be taking 1 less. And that's the key right there. Is this is going to be the difference between the two. Let's say your Sellsword rolls a 5 with a physical +1. That makes a score of a 6. The giant rat has a defense of 1. So that means that 6 now becomes a 5. That remainder, that 5, that's left over is how much potential damage that the monster, the creature you're attacking, is going to take. In this case, the giant rat has a health of 3, so the remainder is enough to finish that rat off, killing it, ending its life, and taking it out of the game. Now, when this happens, you're going to remove that monster from the line, and everything else pushes up towards the front. And it's going to close out that gap. It has 1 action per turn. And these 4 actions, these options you have, are to move. You can move 1 space forward or 1 space back in the line. You can't go further than the furthest back, and you can't go further than the furthest front. I think that should be understood. Now, another option you have is you can use an item. You have bought some gear, and during the course of the game, you're going to find some stuff. So if you want to use stuff, that's going to cost your 1 action per turn. You can choose to focus. And if you focus, then you're not going to be doing anything but just gaining an extra point for your cooldown. So if you're at 3 on a cooldown, that's going to become a 2. And this is for everything that you have that is currently in a cooldown mode. It's going to be 1 point quicker. It's going to get that 1 point bonus. Now, finally, you can choose to escape. Now, the ETN listed with the monsters, the escape target number, is what you're going to need to meet or beat. So if the ETN is 4, then you're going to need a 4, 5, or 6 in order to successfully escape the combat. After a particular rogue has completed and done everything that they want to do for their turn, then it's time to check for bullshit. And this is what the game calls this. Not me, but I agree and think that it's pretty accurate. So you have your quality and your flaw. And usually one of them is assigned, such as the quality would be assigned a 1, while the flaw is assigned a 6. So when you're done with your turn, then you're going to roll a 6-sided die, and if it comes up a 1, then your quality will happen. If it comes up a 6, then your flaw will happen. And after the bullshit phase, it's time to move on and let the next rogue go. And this will continue until all surviving standing rogues have completed their turn. Now, after everyone on the initiative winning side has completed their turn, then it switches sides. In this case, since the rogues had won initiative and all have taken their turn, now the monsters are going to get to go. Now, the enemy, the monsters, the creatures that you're fighting are different. They follow a separate, different set of rules. Now, at the back of the book, of the handbook for rogues, there is a listing of all of the monsters. And in these listings is where you're going to find what exactly it is, how it is that they are going to be making their attack. Those monsters start on page 74. And besides having ability scores to the left of these listings, it also has what they're going to do for their action. Usually there's 2 choices that can be rolled for their action. And just like the heroes, when they're done with their turn, they also have a bullshit round. And on a roll of a 1 or that of a 6, on a D6 roll, then their bullshit will activate. And this is going to continue until all of one side has fallen or escaped, at which point the combat round will end. Now, a quick word about cooldowns and conditions. They do not reset in between encounters. If it has a certain number of turns and rounds, it is going to continue counting down each turn. Each action, each thing that you're going to do will then continue it to go down. But just because you've finished the encounter doesn't mean everything is going to reset for your cooldown or your conditions automatically. So keep that in mind. It still has to cycle through. Now, after combat, you're going to have the choice to choose one rogue in your party, unless something states otherwise. You're going to choose one rogue in your party, and that rogue is going to loot the dead. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the 3-fold paper chart that comes with the game called Loot the Dead. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look up to see which monster type it was. Maybe it was were-rats, or goblins, imps, or skeletons. It says that those are the only monster types that you will be able to find something on. So let's say it was skeletons you just ended up fighting. So you're going to roll the 6-sided die, and any luck modifier you have will be added or subtracted to that roll. Now, here's the thing. Every time you make a loot check and roll that luck die, your luck score is going to go down by 1. Now, during the rest phase, you can recoup and get your points back. But until you do that, your luck roll is going to continue to lower, and that's going to make the possibility of the better and higher rolls on the loot chart possible. Now, the better and higher rolls are things like baubles. Sometimes you might find something a little bit better than a coin or 1d6 coin. Maybe you're going to find a bauble, and then you're going to go to the bauble chart, which is all still in that same 3-fold, and you're going to make another luck roll. Goes down fast, doesn't it? But maybe you got really lucky, and instead of bauble or common items, you got cool shit, or even there's a chart for super cool shit. And again, you're going to make a 6-sided die roll and add any luck modifier you have to it, and you're going to keep subtracting from your luck die. Your luck is running out. But hopefully you're getting cool or even super cool shit. And in a nutshell, in a rather large nutshell, that's combat. And that's actually everything. Now, after combat, when you're done with the complete delve, now you can leave a delve and come back at any time. If you do, the monsters will be restocked. Nothing else will be, like traps and stuff, that's not going to be reset. But monsters will always be reset. But at any time, whether you finish the delve or not, you can leave and go back to your HQ, so to speak, your town of Rock Bottom. Because anyone there, definitely, that's where they are in life. But still, it's homely-ish. And there you can do things like spend coin on more gear, or maybe go carousing, or play some games at the gambling hall like Piss on Your Grave. This is adding on a little bit of an RPG feel, which I really appreciate for the game, and I hope you will too. Now, put this all together, and you have everything you need in order to run, know, start, and have fun with Marching Order. So I hope you enjoy it, I hope you experience this, and come back, because we're going to be doing live playthroughs of this very title. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm your buddy Big John G for Two Gun Picture Presents Legendary Gaming, and I